In the night from Saturday to Sunday, there have been riots in the city of Stuttgart. I know there are a lot of riots right now, particularly in the United States. And I thought for a moment if that is really a newsworthy story. But I've decided it ultimately is because you cannot attribute it directly to Black Lives Matter or to Antifa. And I want to discuss the issue of plausible deniability and also about the drive for violence, that maybe the actual motivation behind the Black Lives Matter and Antifa situation to begin with. About 500 people were observed to riot, to brawl, to smash windows. The victims have been largely police officers. 19 police officers have been injured, one of them so badly that he cannot return to his job right now. How long or if permanently will ultimately be to be seen, but right now all we know is that one of those officers being injured cannot return to work. But it was not only police officers who were injured. There was one student who was kicked in the head while he was already lying on the floor. There is an attempted murder charge out for the 16-year-old perpetrator that committed the crime. In addition to that, there was also a lot of property damage. 37 buildings were demolished, 40 shops. So, some buildings have more than one shop, and so 40 shops were destroyed in 37 damaged buildings. 9 of these shops were pillaged. So 25 suspects have been arrested, 12 of which have got a German citizenship. 13 have not. The police had to deploy 280 officers. Okay, the official reading is that 500 people joined in a single brawl because one person was searched for drugs by the police. And of course, that's a bit unlikely for the sheer number of it. And they are not related. It's not just one ethnicity. There are a lot of people from different ethnicities. Of course, everybody is denying that it was organized. So it's not the Antifa, it's not Black Lives Matter, it's not the Islamists, it's nobody.
Fuck the police! Fuck the system!
So why are they doing it in the first place? And my assumption is that this may be a show of muscles. So they want to test how far they can go with rioting, with violence, with pillaging, and so forth. And I think that is a military-style operation. This is some military game, an assessment of strength. I think the actual culprits behind those riots are not so much the juveniles who participate, and not even the organizers, maybe Antifa, maybe somebody else. The actual culprits are actually our judges, because they have established over years a judicial system, a rule of law that can be reliably ignored if you belong to this or that group. And nefarious groups can use this to recruit militias that they can then engage to various causes. And this is what it is about. As a consequence, the feral left, I'm not sure how to distinguish these people from your average person that maybe feels a bit like he's a bit left-wing and so forth. But anyway, the feral left have now militias in the country that they can draw together in a split second. And this is what they demonstrated on Saturday. And this is also what they demonstrate in America right now. So the hardcore left, the socialists, have a number of people under their influence that get away with everything, with almost everything, at least in this country. And they are testing their muscles. And it is the responsibility of the judges who have failed in the past years to apply the law equally. As I've said in many previous videos, the equality before the law is the one equality the founding fathers of our Western system meant. And it's the one equality the left hates. And this is what they are trying to test. They try to figure out what groups get away with whatever they wish to achieve. And then they are just recruiting from these groups to set the entire place in fire. But why are these juveniles joining in? And I think that answer is very quickly, and I have already made that case in my videos about George Floyd. I think human beings have a drive for aggression. I think that is the normal behavior. Human beings have a drive for destruction. That is something Sigmund Freud took a long time to kind of acknowledge. And this is counterintuitive because we all have this this positive utilitarian worldview that everybody seeks pleasure or the avoidance of hardship, right? So that is the rational foundation with which we supposedly live our lives. And then we see people who seem to enjoy destruction, and we can't really figure out how that is. Well, I believe that is our very nature, and it must be harnessed with a moral set. I think what we share with the chimpanzees, which are the animals closest related to us, is that we have an obvious joy in attacking other people. They seek out fights. And I think there is a sexual nature to it, and I think it has blurred the lines of what other mammals usually do when they go into the mating period. They fight a bit and then they let go. I think what differs us from a lot of animals, actually from all animals, is that we don't have a pairing period. We are testing our strengths versus one another all the time, and some of it is to impress the ladies, and some portion of it has just developed a life of its own. Thrill of violence is always present when we engage in it, and I think we are also the only animal present today that set fire. So it's not just physical altercations, muscle strength versus muscle strength. It is testing our wits, our strategies and so forth versus one another. So it has become very complex, and the only thing that remains is the thrill, and that is dangerous. So if you look at this guy who cowardly kicked this police officer in the back, what he was actually thinking was not, oh, I think I can rescue this guy from arrest. What he was thinking was, you know what, I can get away with it. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe on the various platforms where you see this video. It helps me a lot with the algorithms, I believe. I also believe that I'm shadow banned anyway, but I think it helps me a lot. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon.